Hi there, and welcome back to my next episode of my self-employed and employed vlog. So what's been happening this week? Well, it's been an interesting week, business as usual as we start to come towards the half-term break. Everyone that I know is looking forward to having a bit of a break and a bit of a breather before we do the final push towards Christmas. That's when it gets very busy. Now, I learned a valuable lesson this week, and that is to check my emails. So let me explain what happened there. So basically, I have several emails for different places that I work. And I'm pretty good. I usually check my emails frequently in case there's any last minute changes. But for some reason, I didn't check from a school. I don't know why. But I went into the school and I was expecting to teach 2 year 3 classes and 2 year 4 classes. And when I arrived, it became apparent that that wasn't going to be the case. And an email had been sent out to me to say that I was going to teach 1 year 3 class and then I was going to teach nursery. So understandably, I was slightly apprehensive because I realized I'd dropped the ball there and missed an important email. So I've learnt my lesson there. But I've got to say, to my credit, and I think this is probably now based on the fact that I've built up some experience, because I teach young children all the way down to sort of reception age. So nursery is not a million miles away from reception, but because I've taught that age group now for a little while, I've built up a bank of ideas and resources. And it means that if I'm ever in a situation where I'm put on the spot and I have to deliver something, I've got things ready to go. And I was very much in that situation. It was very much a case of arrive to the school and off I go. I walk into a classroom with 30 expectant eyes looking up at me, realizing that, I've got to deliver this lesson. But I've got to say the lesson was very successful. I don't advocate being disorganized, but it went well. And I think I was able to pull upon ideas and lessons that I'd done in the past to deliver what was a good session in the end. And I think the children enjoyed it, the staff enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it. So it was a good experience. But yes, I did learn a very valuable lesson this week, so I shall check my emails more thoroughly this time. What else has been happening? Well, I've started to plan out now 2026, and I would say that a lot of piano album or cover album releases will be heading your way in 2026. That's going to be sort of predominantly most of my output for next year. I've got my Jean-Michel Jarre piano album. Now it's going to be volume 1 because I'm taking it up to a certain point in his career. And then based on how successful that goes, I will then continue on with the second half of his career. That's coming out 2026, and I'm very excited to do that. I also want to do one on Mike Oldfield as well. Similar sort of approach. So that's another one. Plus also Cardiacs I would like to do. As you know, I've talked about Cardiacs a little bit in my channel, so that's another one. So there's 3 there that are likely to fill most of 2026. On top of that, I'd also like to do a piano album of my own music from my albums, so like a kind of a best of, so taking extracts from certain albums and arranging them for piano, so presenting them in a different arrangement and a different way. That's also something I'd like to do. So there's potentially 4 piano kind of based albums coming in 2026. On top of that, I'm going to start building myself a website again. I think it's important now to build a website where I can house all of my projects. I use Bandcamp primarily for the selling and distribution of my music, but of course there's other streams now that I'd like to explore, and I think I need a dedicated website in order to do that, so that's going to be coming up as well. In terms of new music, I probably won't write a new album, but I want to get back into creating and sharing with you all original music, and what I will most likely do is perhaps record one track and share it with people. So rather than have a whole album, maybe just sort of work on individual unrelated pieces that I can kind of share, and that allows me to dip back into composing without the pressure of having to write a full album. And who knows, maybe an album will just naturally come, but for the moment I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself with that. Now, with regards to my schedule after Christmas, as some of you know from my last video, I made the decision to leave some piano teaching that I've been doing for a little while. I want to kind of confirm now that I will be stopping that after Christmas. The teaching in question is it's a bit of a bittersweet one, because basically it was the place that I used to work before I went self-employed. So I was a music teacher, classroom music teacher in a secondary school for about 7 years, and when I decided to go self-employed, there was some piano teaching available, so I was able to continue teaching some piano there. So my role changed, but the location was the same, and I've been teaching piano since I went self-employed, so almost 5 years now. So in total, I've got 12 years of ties with that school, and understandably, stopping. It's quite emotional, because I've been with that school in one way or another, and I've had lots of kind of ups and downs and successes and failures that have happened during my time there at that school. But it feels like it's very much the full stop then on that particular period. And it's nothing against the school. I've enjoyed teaching there. It's just, as I've said in my videos, I find that whilst I do have time to do creative projects, they're always in between things. It's always, where I've got an hour or two between doing something else. And it's very hard to get into the creative flow when you know that in, say, 2 hours' time, you've got to go to another place and teach. And I wanted to try and have a designated day that I could make entirely creative and work on music projects, where I could get up and I could work on things knowing that I didn't have to be over there or over here, or and I think that's important, and I think that's why I've struggled creatively, is because I've always been trying to squeeze it into the day, where I've got an hour free or 2 hours free before I go off somewhere else. It's just not enough, and it's not enough for me to be able to just sit down for 2 hours and start doing stuff that's creative, particularly things like website building, recording piano albums, recording music, composing music. You can't just do that in 1 or 2 hours here and there. You need a designated time and place to do it. And it's the Wednesday really that essentially was the only day in my week that I had where I could have a whole day. But the only way I could do it would be to have got rid of my morning teaching, which is obviously now what I've decided to do. Now, obviously, as I go forward, if things are financially a little bit tight or it's not working out, then I know that I can always get other work. It's not like the end. It's not like, well, I'll never get any more work to fill that void. There's always things out there that I can do, but I just want to give it a try and see if I can build up a little bit of a passive income from musical projects that I enjoy doing and have a passion for. And for me, it just means that the middle of my week becomes a break point, so that I've got lots and lots of teaching that I do, as you know, but in the middle of the week, I've just got that break point where it's something different, and I've got the time and space to be able to work on different things. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So yeah, that's pretty much it at the moment. There's not really much more to report. It's more really just to share with you that there's quite a lot of releases coming in 2026. And I'll obviously share more with you when we get to that stage. But at the moment now, obviously, up until Christmas, we'll be very, very busy with teaching and work. But in those 1 or 2 hour gaps that I have here and there, I'm starting to kind of write down what I want to do, what I'd like to work on when we come through into the new year. And just start to make a few plans for how to, kind of go forward. This channel obviously is something I'd like to continue doing. I am exploring another channel as well, which is a separate thing, just to give me something else to do that is not actually music related. So it's good to have something that is something that I have an interest and passion for, but that isn't music. So that's something separate, but I think is useful for me, to be able to do that. And yeah, I'll keep sharing with you all the updates that I can. And it'd be great to have you on board for the ride. But for now, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you all in my next video. Take care.